Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Caitlin. Airborne transmission is now thought to be a significant method by which COVID-19 can spread. If that is the case, so what does that mean for office workers and school children when it comes to our buildings? A lot of them are old, which leaves the question of just how good the air quality and ventilation systems actually are. Serene Al-Momen is the CEO of an air quality monitoring company called Senseware, and she is here to discuss the challenges and what can be done to address them. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Sylvia. Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you. So let's start with schools, because that's a big topic of discussion right now. What are some of the biggest challenges that schools face in terms of air quality?
Sylvia, we knew even before COVID that indoor air quality in schools are poor. In fact, the Government Accountability Office released a report that says that over half of the schools need some systems, major system repairs, and naming HVAC systems that are in charge of improving indoor air quality as being the most in need of repair. So it is a known issue, and now when you're adding to it infectious disease possibly being present in the environment, it's really creating a big concerns in schools.
So many of our schools, they just don't have the money to do something like that. What would it take in order to make sure that the air quality in our children's classrooms are actually safe?
Yeah, so it's a great question. We now know that airborne transmission is the primary mode of the transmission of COVID-19 virus, and yet I'm really surprised that we're not seeing a lot of the plans to reopen schools include any improvement on indoor air quality or HVAC systems improvement. And there are simple things to be done to improve air quality. So, for example, you can just change the ventilation system where you're bringing more outside air so that you're diluting the air indoors and getting rid of potentially particles that are virus particles. Mm-hmm. And you can also do things like, when you can't always bring outside air because it's too hot, too cold, make the filtration systems better because they're the ones that are circulating the air. So making sure that you're using the highest rated filters possible that are able to really filter out the small particles, very small particles, which, the virus can exist in very small sizes in the air.
Is that expensive? Is that expensive? Is that an expensive cost?
No, it's just changing filters is
really?
It's very affordable. Huh. And changing settings to bring more outside air is very affordable as well. Making sure, we've been in schools where simply things like, the time on the thermostat and the controller of the HVAC system is off. So it's saying that it's 9 a.m. when it's 12 p.m. Mm-hmm. So just looking at that, changing these types of things are, opening windows when possible is great. And I think, it's a layered approach. How in a recent segment, there was a survey that you talked about when parents were polled around how comfortable they are bringing kids back into school, and right. 3/4 of them said no or unknown. And I'm in that category with my kids myself, because I'm not seeing any plans for my kids' schools that have any improvement in HVAC ventilation. And I think there is this confidence question whether or not we have the right measures in school and whether they're working as they should to create the safest environment.
Very interesting.
And indoor air quality monitoring, I think this is something that is really important to start to consider to put in spaces. I mean, we have fire detectors and carbon monoxide to keep us healthy. Now we have to also incorporate things around monitoring indoor air quality in real time, make sure that air quality measures are working as they should, and if they're not, we're alerted in real time to keep an eye, around the clock to keep a safe environment for the kids.
Well, Serene, you definitely have given parents something to think about that maybe wasn't on their list when they were thinking about sending their children back to school safely. Again, Serene Al-Momen with Senseware, thanks so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your insight on this, something we may not have thought about. We appreciate your time. Have a good day.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Coming up, a